Game 5 just got a whole lot heavier for the Oklahoma City Thunder because the injury report is not offering too much relief right now. J-Dub is listed as questionable with a hamstring injury management designation. AJ has already been ruled out with a soleus strain, calf strain pretty much. And after what we just saw in game 4, that's really where the concern is. First, Jalen Williams designation obviously changed from soreness to injury management. That's not really a new injury setback for Thunder fans that are wondering. It's mostly just league terminology to do an adjustment because it's still meaning that he's day to day. So the reality hasn't changed. He's still not guaranteed for game 5. And I feel like that alone changes everything for the OKC Thunder because when J-Dub is off the floor, the offense does not function in the same way, especially for mainly the bench unit in terms of getting them shot creation. That playmaking factor is going to be huge. And especially with AJ being ruled out again, I feel like that's quietly just as important with J-Dub being out. He's not a star, but he's also someone that's a critical sixth man for us. He's been a secondary ball handler in this series and someone that can take pressure off of Shai and J-Dub. And mainly Shai Gilgeous-Alexander needs to be able to initiate offense. He needs someone else that can stabilize possessions when things are being broken up by the Spurs defensive guards. And without both of them together, OKC loses two primary creators. And what we saw in game 4 was 82 points, 20 turnovers, 33% shooting, 6 of 33 from the three-point line. And it wasn't just a cold shooting night. That offense had really no answers once the Spurs took away the one, which is SGA. SGA got trapped early. The passing lanes disappeared. And I felt like that's just kind of what led to, a lot of the issues that we've had. I feel like we can, do a lot better. The possessions breaking down into isolation, survival basketball. There are so many possessions where the shot clock ran out on us, and that's exactly what San Antonio wanted. And that really brings us to the swing piece in Jalen Williams. He's not just a scorer for us. I feel like he's the release valve for the pressure. And when the defenses load up on Shai, J-Dub is the guy that can attack, as a rotating piece on the defensive end. And that creates a bunch of mismatches, creates advantages off the dribble, and keeps the offense, from becoming predictable. That's something that we've really become in this game. It was clear that they knew exactly the sets that we were going to run with just Shai being out there. And without him, I feel like everything just shifted on to Shai's shoulders. And against the Spurs defense that fully locked in, I felt like that's just too dangerous of a formula. San Antonio had a game plan that was just consistent of they knew exactly what we were going to do and take everyone else away and someone that's not Shai to beat them. And Caruso didn't join the party. J. Will didn't join the party in terms of three-point shooting. There wasn't much creation from McCain or three-point shooting from him. And we saw in stretches where SGA was picked up full court, forced in the late shot clock situations, and he was funneled into help defenders rather than being double teamed. And I feel like that's not random. That's kind of the scheme that they had for this one, especially when they know there's no other offensive creators. And I felt like that impacted Chet Holmgren the most. His efficiency in this series has been tied directly to, J-Dub, SGA, and AJ kind of creating for him and from a spacing perspective and rhythm. And when OKC loses that secondary creation, it really impacts him the most. And of course, Hartenstein as well. And the touches just don't look the same. They're less clean. He's forced into reacting rather than being a part of the flowing offense. And so this isn't just we're missing one player as a problem. I feel like it's a structural issue with the entire offense. And we saw the Spurs, bring in other point guards. And I'm not saying Topic is the answer, but we do need more ball handling out there. And the question is really going to be if J-Dub is out again in game 5, how can we adjust? We just clearly need more early offense. We need McCain to step up from an assist perspective, playmaking perspective, and ball handling duties, and Caruso as well. I feel like we need more pick and roll options with Shai and Chet, so they're just at least flowing in the offense. We need Case and Wallace to absorb a lot of this, pressure because he's the primary ball handler that we started in this series, and he didn't live up to what I thought he would do. And we can't afford long stagnant possessions where the Spurs can just load up on us defensively. And in game 4, that showed what happens when the balance is pretty much offset. And so in game 5, what I want us to do is to have enough creation on the offensive end, kind of reclaim the control over the series. And at the end of the day, SGA, we've got to get him easier looks at the basket. And if we can walk into that situation where every possession isn't a grind, we can solve that problem. And if the same game plan is going to work on us that worked in game 4, then we're going to be in for a rough, next couple games. Obviously, there's only 3 games left, and it's a really tight series. And so obviously we need some health, but outside of that, we've got some, ideas on how to get Chet involved, how to get Shai involved, and maybe introducing a new release valve would be really nice, like Caruso as a primarily, ball handler, maybe even bringing him into the starting lineup at this point, because Kaysen didn't seem to work. And we're going to need to put someone in there that will work. Maybe bring Lou Dort, into the situation, to the fold, because, man, it's a tough start right now. We're just missing so many ball handlers. So hopefully J-Dub does play. And if he does, then we know exactly how to, match up against the Spurs with 2 ball handlers, and that'll make it a little bit easier on us. The other thing that I haven't mentioned yet is focusing in on Wemby's paint touches, trying to control that and trying to stop that a little bit more. We fouled it pretty early with Hartenstein, and then he had to go to the bench, and we couldn't really run too much double big against him. So if that's going to be the case, I wouldn't mind Jay will kind of be the guy that's primarily on him, because if he does end up picking up a couple of fouls and Hartenstein and Chet are the guys kind of helping as help defenders, then they're less likely to foul out earlier. That way they can kind of stay on the floor, and Jay will can kind of be the guy that, is the body that's in front of him that may pick up, here and there fouls, because Wemby is that elite that he'll make you foul out if you give him the opportunity. And so we don't want to put too much pressure on our bigs when we're already kind of lacking at the guard position right now. So those are just my quick couple ideas here. Let me know what you guys think, who you guys think will win this series, and if we can really come back and win this game 5 at home. We really need this, of course. And if you guys like this type of content, make sure you guys subscribe. I'll have the post-game recap for you guys once the game ends. Peace out.